What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be spotlighting Regidrago for the upcoming Regulation D format. So the time is now for Regidrago to finally get its foot in the door in the competitive scene for a variety of different reasons. Now, this is one of the older ones from Sword and Shield that has made its way into Scarlet and Violet thanks to Pokemon Home. And at the time, you know, within Sword and Shield, Regidrago kind of struggled a little bit, okay? And we're going to talk about why that was in a second, but let's look at it as a whole. So base 200 HP, that's a lot. You know, think of Regieleki, but instead of in the speed, it's in the HP. And then from there, you have this equal value of attack and special attack stat, and then subpar defenses, right? But then you look at this ability, Dragon's Maw, where you're basically getting, you know, a 1.5 boost, you know, when you're using a dragon type attack. You know, I'm surprised this wasn't nerfed, but Transistor was. And then it gets a signature move of, you know, Dragon Energy, called Dragon Energy, right? And it's basically Eruption, you know, where it does a lot of damage when you're at full health, but it does even less the more HP you lose, right? So basically, you know, think about this. Like, why was this Pokemon struggling in Sword and Shield? Well, a couple of reasons. One, there was Dynamax, okay? And things, when you Dynamax, they get their HP doubled, and as a result, things just were not dropping to Dragon Energy. They would get, you know, a significant chip, but not enough to wipe the floor with them. And then as a result, once they were Dynamax, they took the attack and then just killed Regidrago right back, and then that was it. Okay, so because of that, that was one reason why, you know, Regidrago struggled. And then the second reason was there was a dog with a sword in its mouth running around, okay, and that was Zacian. And as we all know, again, with Zacian being the fairy type, the dragon type attacks aren't going to do anything, and then at the same time you just KO'd right back from the Zacian, right? So those were the two ultimate reasons why you didn't really see Regidrago running around in the competitive VGC format. Okay, but now in Scarlet and Violet, fast forward a few years later, there's no Zacian, there's no Dynamax. Okay, you still get Tailwind support from Tornadus. Okay, and now is as good of a time as ever for Regidrago to finally put its mark in the VGC scene, and it already has. Okay, we're gonna look at some tournament results in a second as far as how people are utilizing this, but you can already imagine this being on a hyper offensive core, you know, centered around Tornadus, you know, with the Tailwind support, giving it extra speed, so this way that the Regidrago can get to go first, and then unleashing the big Dragon Energy, okay, and then you get access to stuff like Dragon Fang. You can do, you know, Choice Scarf, Choice Specs, whichever way you like to do it, okay? The point is, you're on a hyper-offensive team, you're clicking the one-hit KO button, unless they switch out into a Flutter Mane or go for a Terra Fairy, and then you're just going to be dealing a bunch of damage. Now, there are ways around it, and what I just said was a way around it, where you can just Terra Fairy or switch out into Flutter Mane. Again, if you get priority hit, you know, with something like Sucker Punch, Ice Shard, you know, or Fake Out for that matter, right, then that'll also stop Regidrago. So there's some weaknesses there to the strategy, of course. Similar to how you would fight Torkoal Eruption, right? You would just, you know, cancel out priority moves, you know, with something like maybe an Indeedee, for example. So this way Regidrago can do what it needs to do. But if you didn't have it, then, you know, you were able to just pretty much just click a priority move, and then either the Torkoal or the Regidrago would go kaput. Okay, so now from here, again, now you're just wondering, like, okay, what are my cores? What do I need to fight against? What are some things that I need to have planned so this way Regidrago can do the job that it needs to do? All right, well, you already know that people are going to bring Flutter Mane, right? So you're going to have an answer for that. You need some steel coverage, okay? And there's a couple ways to do it. One way is to simply just add a Heatran on your team with Flash Cannon support. All right, now that might not kill the Flutter Mane, of course, but at least you have a super effective move against it that can deal significant damage, okay? The other thing people have been doing is doing this. They've been opting for Terra Blast, Terra Steel, right? Because now what some players are saying is, okay, if you're going to be clicking that dragon move, I'm going to go into my fairy type or Terra Fairy and then, you know, withstand that first initial hit. So then Regidrago users are now saying, okay, well, we'll match that. We'll go with Terra Steel, we'll go with Terra Blast, and into the fairy types, okay, and then our problem is solved, right? So that's what they're doing, okay, and then very simply here you can just put Protect, you can put Draco Meteor, so this way, just in case you've taken some chip damage, you still have a very strong dragon type attack to click in the Draco Meteor. And like I said, the Heatran can also have this move Flash Cannon. If you think that you're just doubling up too much on the steel type coverage, then you can always remove it and then just continue to build from there. But I feel like just a very standard way to building this is just adding Heatran, add Rillaboom, okay, and then Urshifu. This is your premier Fire, Water, Grass core, and just a very easy core to start out with when you're trying to play Regulation D in the beginning, or just needing a way to fill out the rest of your team. You can't really go wrong with these three. They're very good at what they do. They check a lot of things. They check stuff like Flutter Mane. They check Iron Bundles. They check Ursaluna for that matter, especially the Rillaboom and Urshifu. You can have something against potential Trick Room teams, right? If you just go with something like Substitute Heatran. So this way you can alternate your substitutes and protects and stall out their Trick Room. All right, and many different ways to do it, with these three. Okay, and then from there you can just add pretty much a filler slot. Why not just add the Flutter Mane? You're right. So this way, at the very least, look, you actually have a balanced hyper offensive team. You have a Dragon, a Fairy, and a Steel type. Then you also have a Fire, Water, Grass core. So unbeknownst to you got in general, you have your balanced core and you have a hyper offensive core. Okay, and we're gonna build this after we look at some tournament results, but I would just start out like this. I've seen some variations as opposed to after Regidrago Tornadus. There's different things that you can do from here, but at the very least you can start with this 6. Okay, so now let's take a look at the data and let's see what people have been using with Regidrago, and then we'll finish off the rest of the team. Okay, so let's look at one of the Neme weekly Regulation D tours. And this one has at 3rd place a Regidrago team with Pichu here. Okay, and it's almost the same kind of core that we suggested, except there is an Amoonguss here instead of the Rillaboom, which is okay because now you have a little bit better of a Trick Room matchup. But you can technically see here, look, again, Bleak Windstorm, Tailwind, Taunt, Terra Blast. Ooh, Terra Blast, Terra Ground. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's something interesting. That's something new. Okay, but again, this one and Regidrago, they're coming together. And look, this is a Choice Scarf Regidrago, maybe even good against like things that are just faster, even under Tailwind. Also pretty good into the mirror. But you can technically just see over here Terra Steel, Terra Blast. Again, like I said, there's also Earth Power here, so that's also pretty cool. This is great into like other Steel types, for example. Great against Fire types, just in case you have difficulty hitting them. All right, also good against Rock types in general. But yeah, then from there, of course, you have the Fire, Water, Grass core Heatran, Amoonguss, and then Urshifu over here with the Sash Urshifu, which is the one I like. Then you still have your Steel coverage here in the Heatran. This is a Leftovers Heatran. And of course, a very standard Amoonguss set with Leaf Storm. Okay, so that's a good, strong attack, I guess, on Amoonguss. People forget that Amoonguss has a pretty decent special attack stat. And then, of course, a Flutter Mane with a Booster Energy set with 3 attacks and Protect. So very standard Regidrago team in terms of its makeup. It's a Scarf Regidrago, so that's something to keep in mind in Open Teep Sheet if you are going against this. But like I said, the Terra-type Steel is something that is really good on it now. So just be prepared to see that every single time when you're looking at a Regidrago team. But other than that, it kind of plays similarly to how we like to play it, just because it has 5 of the same 6 Mons, with the only difference, of course, of being the Amoonguss, right? Let's take a look at some other squads here. So we'll look at the 32nd Neme Weekly Tour, and I believe there's a couple of Regidrago teams here, which is this one, the one in top 8 right here, Z2R Kogao. Okay, and I really like this kind of Regidrago. Well, it's a very interesting one, right? Again, Regidrago Tornadus, and then there's the Cress Heatran Grimmsnarl idea. So again, hiding behind screens. Now you have a Trick Room mode to the team, so you don't have to like technically struggle with the substitute stuff. And then Enamorous, your strong fairy coverage as opposed to something like the Flutter Mane, superpower player of Ironhead. So here's your Steel coverage, okay? Because you're foregoing it here, but still also opting for Earth Power. So that's also really interesting there. And then this is a Fake Tears Grimmsnarl, so that could also technically be used with the Regidrago over here for sure. And then Cresselia is always an interesting option, right? Just because, you have not only the Trick Room mode, but then you have Lunar Blessing. So this way, even if your Regidrago takes some damage, which in turn would reduce your Dragon Energy, you can just heal it back up, right? And then all of a sudden next turn, your Dragon Energy is back to doing more damage, right? And then Light 4 P-Tram, which is something I like a lot, especially under like whether it's Tailwind or Trick Room. Doesn't really matter. It's still very, very strong, especially those heat waves. Okay, but this is a really, really cool team. I like it a lot. It's a little bit different than what you would normally might see. It's like a little bit of a balance between the Trick Room modes and the Tailwind modes. Then if you go over here to Kremling, okay, at result number 10, 4 and 2. So this one, no Tornadus here, but instead we're going with Murkrow, but still the same idea. You're going with Tailwind, Regidrago. You also have Quash and Scary Face. So there's 3 kinds of speed control on this Murkrow. I don't know if that's necessary. I feel like, if anything, maybe just Squash. I don't know if you need Scary Face as well. But we still see the Grimmsnarl come back here again. There's another Fake Tears Pokemon. And again, you can also combo this with Chiyu, right? You might even see like Fluttermane, Chiyu, Regidrago teams, just because the Chiyu will also help the Regidrago do more damage. So that's another idea that you can use, right? And very easily, if you go back to our team builder, you could very easily just put like Amoonguss here and put Chiyu over here. And then now you have Chiyu, Fluttermane, and Regidrago on the same team, right? If you want to go that route. So I think that's also relatively good, okay, if you want to do things like that. But again, it's just interesting to see, like, there's no one way to play Regidrago, right? We've just shown you like 3 different teams that play very, very differently because of the different options, right? And here's an Iron Hands, which is really good in the format right now. It gives you a fake out option as well to be able to set up said Tailwind or set up said screens, right? So also relatively okay into the Ursaluna matchup. Great into the Iron Bundle stuff, as well as other Treasures of Ruin Pokemon just in general. Really, really interesting team. So yeah, let's keep on moving. Let's look at this one, the return of the Beanie Brawl. This was like a 150 plus person tournament. Okay, 120. Okay, and then over here, I did see one here. Where was it? Oh yeah, right here, Alex123. Right, that's our homie. And he pretty much has the same 6 that we had. So again, it's Tornadus, Regidrago with sub Fluttermane and sub Heatran. That's really, really good. I like both. And then over here, it's just Rapid Strike, Urshifu, Rillaboom, again, like we had with the standard Assault Vest set. There's the Terra type Steel on the Regidrago. And then this Tornadus has Wide Lens, because I'm sure Alex very much hates missing. Totally understandable, I guess. But again, very, very similar idea. And again, the way Alex is trying to stall Trick Room turns is, again, he's just going for Substitute the turn that they go for it. So this way, he can click Sub, Protect, turn 3 break the sub, then turn 4 protect, and then the Trick Room turns are gone, right? So that's one way to do it. But again, another hyper offensive core with Substitute to try and combat those slower Trick Room teams. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Let's look at another. Then in the Nino tour, actually this is one of my favorite ones. This one is Z2R Allen G13, so kind of like the other player, but here again, Regidrago Tornadus. Okay, but you get Cresselia, Iron Hands, Landorus, and Heatran, right? This Cresslando, Heatran, Iron Hands, this is a very, very common 4. You often see something like Amoonguss as the 5th option with like some flying type in the end, like a Moltres, which is really, really good. But I like this a lot because now what this is saying is, again, we have Tornadus, Regidrago with the hyper offensive squad. Then you have Landorus, which can also Earthquake next to both Tornadus and Cresselia. And then from there, Earth Power over, the Terra Steel option, which is very interesting, right? So either you're going with like an Earth Power set or a Terra Steel, Terra Blast set. But this Crest has Ice Beam along with the Lunar Blessing, and then here's Moonblast. Moonblast really good against Urshifu, and just great into other Rune Pokemon in general, like maybe Chien-Pao, which is also really good into Regidrago, especially if they're running like Ice Shard shenanigans. Okay, and then this is a Swords Dance Iron Hands. So that's very interesting if you can find a space to set it up. Then here's the Landorus, the AB Lando with Hammer Arm, along with Earthquake, Terra Blast, Terra Flying, Rock Slide, and then Shuka Berry Heatran. That was something like in Series 10 back in Sword and Shield, just because there was a lot of ground coverage running around there, like a Landorus, for example, and there was no Terrestrialization there. So Shuka Berry makes a little bit of sense there. But yeah, 9 and 3, really, really good. Squad in general, but again, another balanced idea with Crest Heatran for the Trick Room mode along with Iron Hands, and then your hyper offensive core is with Tornadus, Regidrago, and Landorus. So lots of different ways to pilot this. Okay, and then if I go back here, I actually want to show you this kind of squad. If I have it over here, which I do, So this one, I'll just show the open team sheet just because, you know, this is something that was being made during a coaching session that I was, you know, building with someone else. And again, if you're interested in coaching, okay, for Regulation D format, be sure to sign up with the tier 3 sub on the channel. If you look in the video description or in the comment section, there is a link to sign up and get a team building coaching session with me via a Discord call. You know, if you're struggling to build a squad, I can help you out there. But again, you have to sign up with the tier 3 sub. But again, enough about that. At the very least, I can still show you this open team sheet. But similar idea where we were just going with Crest, Iron Hands, and Landorus for the Trick Room mode of the team. Okay, and then Indeedee, right, which I was mentioning earlier, was really, really good because again, how do you beat Regidrago and stuff like that? You just click a priority move against it. But now what you can do is basically you can just say, I'm going to switch in my Indeedee. I'm going to stop your priority move. Okay, and then from there, you wasted your fake out, you wasted your Ice Shard or Sucker Punch, and then I'm just going to click Dragon Energy, and then I'm kind of chilling from there, right? So then at the same time, you know, we also wanted a redirector for the Trick Room mode, you know, for the Cresselia, and then we debated for going for like a Swords Dance set on either like the Iron Hands or the Landers, but in the end, we just said, you know what, we'll just go straight more offense here with a Volt Switch, Wild Charge, Drain Punch, you know, for very standard Iron Hand set, and then the Landorus with Protect is a clear amulet set, so this way you can't re-intimidate our Landorus, okay, which is, I think, is very, very annoying, okay, and this has our steel coverage with Terra Blast, Terra Steel, so this is actually kind of cool, something that we came up with, so yeah, but I won't show you the EVs for that one. I'll just give you the freemium version, which is this, right? You know, I can't give you the premium stuff, but I gotta give you the free stuff. So now let's go back into the team builder and let's go ahead and build this version of the Regidrago squad. Okay, now that I've had my little laugh, okay, let's go back to the builder here. So again, like I said, we have Regidrago, and we have it mapped out here in the set. Now we'll just go into the Tornadus with Tailwind, Bleak Wind, Storm. All right, and then Taunt. And then believe it or not, we're just going to go Protected. We don't need the Rain Dance here, so to speak. I don't think it's necessary. I think we just want to just stick with Cobra Cloak here. Because, like, if you look at this team, like, there's, other than, like, the Urshifu, there's nothing really that wants to take advantage of the Rain Dance, so to speak. So, I feel like, let's just forgo it. Then over here, the Terra type, we can just go Terra Ghost again, just to, you know, stop the extreme speed shenanigans from, like, Adamant, Choice Span, 252, Dragonite, Shenpao shenanigans. So, that's also really, really good. The fact that we can have the Terra Ghost option. Heatran, of course, Terra Grass. You know, it's annoying to eliminate it if you don't have a non-fire type that's super effective against grass. You need an ice coverage, you need flying coverage. Other than that, the Heatran kind of just runs through or kind of just sits there behind its sub and does whatever it wants. I do like Heat Wave. I do like Earth Power. Sub and Protect is really good. Definitely Leftovers for sure. By the way, if you really want to have the steel coverage on the Heatran, you can still go Flash Cannon here, but then it's absolutely mandatory that you have the substitute on the Fluttermane, because then you have nowhere else around the Trick Room stuff, right? So if that's something that you prefer to have, whether you have like double steel coverage, so this way you don't have to Terastallize, all right, and then your Heatran, at least you can click Flash Cannon into the mirror, because other than that, you're just going for like not very effective Earth Powers, because they're going to be Terra Grass as well, right? So you can definitely do this, and at least now you also have like some endgame option against a Fluttermane if you have to like Flash Cannon it, for example, right? So I'll keep it like that, and then keep the Fluttermane like this. Then the Rillaboom here. So Grassy Surge, of course, Assault Vest set. Oops. Okay, and then we go with the Fake Out, the Wood Hammer, the U-Turn, and oh, that's Uproar, the U-Turn. Okay, and then of course Knock Off, really, really good item. Knocking off like Rocking Helmet Amoonguss, knocking off Safety Goggles, knocking off like an important berry, for example. Really, really good to move on Rillaboom. Can I just say that despite the fact that Rillaboom lost Grassy Glide, the fact that it's still good and being used just goes to show you how actually strong it was in Sword and Shield. You guys missed out, man. Grassy Glide was so good. Okay, and of course here we have the Urshifu with a Focus Sash is going to be really, really good. I love Sash Urshifu. It gives me an out into a lot of things where I normally wouldn't have an out. and then protect over here. And why don't we just go ahead and just say this is a 252 set, you know, with the Urshifu. And like I always say, by the way, I do like 176 with the Rillaboom as opposed to doing this, just because the 176 will optimize for grassy terrain. You're going to get a perfect 11 HP recovery per turn, whereas this is 10.9, 375, which rounds down to 10. So yeah, it's a perfect multiple of the 16, right? So go from there. The Flutter Mane, so of course, you know, your very standard Moonblast and Shadow Ball with Substitute and Protect. And Booster Energy Flutter is really good. If you want, you can definitely do Life Orb here. But other than that, you know, I feel like Booster Energy Flutter Mane is, you know, relatively standard. So then from here, let's just go ahead and do the EV spreads, you know, because we already have the items, the Terra and the movesets. So now let's do some EVs. Okay, so starting off with the Regidrago. So very, very standard one. Honestly, we're just going to go Timid and then just go max speed. Oh, that's defense. And again, you can definitely see why it really needs like Dragon Fan, Dragon's Maw. Like 152 stat is not so great. It's not terrible. It's just not, you know, something to write home to mom about. You definitely need a Fang and a Dragon's Maw ability to even do like pretty solid, decent damage, right? Then the Tornadus, again, what we like to do with our Torn, we like to build it relatively bulky. We like to just outspeed the base 100s and then speed creep a little bit. And then from there, just have maybe what would be the first bump in the Modest Nature. But again, we don't have it. So we're just going to go just a little bit of investment here in Special Attack. We know 154 is another number. But at the same time, let's go right here, 175 and 92. So then from here, you know, again, we're just calcing to survive the Dragonite E-Speed shenanigans, you know, without Chien-Pao, as well as the Urshifu Surging Strikes. So this way, you know, we can live to tell the tale and get off a key attack, right? The Heatran over here. So again, I like to go with a Timid Heatran set where I'm just going almost max speed, where I'm just outspeeding Regidrago under Tailwind. So this way I can Earth Power it, right? And then I'm going to go just about 76 HP. Right, which again will optimize for my leftovers, then just 1 point in the bulk, each side, and then just complete special attack like this. And that's a very, very standard Heatran set for outspeeding Alecki. Rillaboom, again, alright, so this one I'm going to change the build a little bit. So normally I would do something like this where I still go like 132 investment, 196 up to the third EV benchmark in the attack stat. And again, if you don't know what EV bumps are, make sure you comment in the video below and ask what are EV bumps. Because if you're trying to play competitive Pokemon, you got to know what these are. They're part of the basics and the fundamentals of creating EVs for your squad. Then from there, I just try to get the Assault Vest into like an even number like this, where I have 60 investment, then just about 52 defense. Because from here, I always went with like 68 speed, you know, just to speed creep the 112s, which would outspeed base 100s after a +1, right? But I figured, you know what? Maybe we can forego some of my speed and actually just go about 12 speed here. This way, you still have enough speed to outspeed like quote-unquote Dragapult, which is not really like in the meta at the moment. But at the very least, it just gives you a little bit more attack to max out. So this way you are an Adamant 252 with an Assault Vest. And then sometimes this is good into the Indeedee matchup because, you know, you're fighting for terrain control, and whoever has the slower Pokemon will override the other's terrain. Sometimes some of these Indeedees are running a little bit of speed. But now what we can say is we can just undercut that and just have a slower U-turn, which is actually really, really good as well, right? Then again, we just did the Urshifu. The Flutter Mane is actually really relatively simple. Honestly, you can just do something like this, where like you're a Modest Nature Flutter Mane, and then you can just pretty much go max speed, right? And then go about this much. You can go this much special attack, and then just pretty much just dump the rest into your HP like this, you know, just so that you have a little bit more HP to work with in terms of your substitute. You can optimize this a little bit better for the substitute if you calc, you know, for the 1/4. But at the time of testing, I really wanted the max speed and I wanted the first bump in the special attack stat because I felt like if I didn't have any, then yeah. But you can re-optimize this if you want to drop it down just a little bit, if you want to do like some sub-optimization. But I just did this, you know, just because I wanted something to test on ladder with. and this is what I had at the moment, right? But other than that, max speed Flutter Mane is really good because, again, a couple of speed tiers to know is that some Flutter Manes are doing this, where they go to 171 to outspeed Garchomp. Some of them went up to here, which was to, at the time, outspeed Adamant Dondozo, which is not really around anymore. Then they did this, which is to outspeed, Mousehold. And then now, all of a sudden, okay, we don't need to do that anymore. But this is also meant to not only outspeed the Mousehold, but outspeed Thundurus, which has the same speed tier as Mousehold, as well as the Tornadus, right? 111 as well. But then from there, might as well just go max speed, and outspeed some of those speed creepers as well. I see no reason not to. By the way, we'll just do Terra Fairy here. I think this is also okay. Where is this? Terra Fairy, Urshifu. We'll do. I like Terra Grass. Getting around Amoonguss is important. So I like Terra Grass. This one, Terra Fire is okay. Just so that you don't get burned. And then same thing from the Chiyu shenanigans. We have Terra Grass here. We have Terra Ghost. We have Terra Steel. Okay, so yeah, this is it. This was the start of our core of our team. Okay, and again, Dragon, Fairy, Steel, Fire, Water, Grass. You have ways for Trick 'em. First of all, you can taunt, all right, and then secondly, you can just alternate your protects. You have 5 protects on this team, and you have a substitute Flutter Mane, so there's no reason why you can't have some chances to stall out those Trick 'em turns. At the time of testing, I was running both sub Heatran and sub Flutter Mane, just like Alex was. But sometimes I was in a little bit of a need for Flash Cannon. So you can technically argue maybe you can just put Flash Cannon over Earth Power here. But the ground coverage is actually really, really nice against certain scenarios. So I kept it. But yeah, that's just something for you, the viewer, to think about. Okay, but anyway, now what we're going to do is we're just going to play some quick test games just to see how the team performs a little bit and how you could lead and, just stuff that you can use and do in terms of positioning some of these games. Okay, let's take a look. Oh man, I like how this guy's name is Big Kevin, but he's using the small Flutter Mane. So he's got a Gudra team, and I like it a lot, except this thing. I don't know what it's doing there, but I can't see why I can't start out with Regidrago and Tornadus, right? There's no fake out there. He does have some fast options with the Iron Bundle and Flutter Mane, but if he does lead any of those, again, we have Terra Steel on the Regidrago as well. And again, Iron Bundle speed just isn't the greatest, right? So we'll have ways around it, but let's play. So he goes with Iron Bundle and Tornadus, as I thought he might. Here's our Tornadus and here's our Regidrago, right? And it is a boosting speed Iron Bundle. So that means what could be in the back? Probably Flutter Mane, and then probably something else that's not named Mischievous, right? God knows what it is, okay? Either way, I still brought Urshifu in the back. Okay, so here's the Terra Steel, there's the Tailwind, and here's the Icy Wind. Probably wanted to get some big damage on the Regidrago Dragon type. Now, he may have clicked that move, but again, we have a Corvo Cloak, so you can't actually reduce my speed, except on the Regidrago. There's the Bleakwind Storm, and there's the Dragon Energy, and things just go bye-bye. So I don't know how good your Tailwind, Icy Wind combo was there. Okay, so now he brings in Landorus and Flutter Mane. Still okay. Because again, I should have the faster options once I click Tailwind and go into something else. But Regidrago, you kind of did your job already, so I don't really need it anymore. So he clicks Protect on the Flutter. I click Protect on the Regidrago. I went for Tailwind, and I figured he might try that with the Earthquake Protect combo. But that just means overall free damage later on. So there's the Shadow Ball. There's the Bleakwind Storm. And here is a Rock Slide. And if I get flinched, I'm in a really good spot. Thankfully, I don't get flinched. There's the Terra Blast, and there down goes the Flutter Mane. This is why you run Terra Blast, Terra Steel, Regidrago. And now we bring in Urshifu in front of a Landorus who is all alone, and he has one button to click and one button to click only, and that is forfeit, right? So that's a very, very standard way of playing this Regidrago team. Again, they have to find a way to get their fairy in or lead a fairy, and then at that point you can just use your Terra Steel and Regidrago to your advantage, okay? Okay, yeah, I don't know what this is. This looks like a 6 Mons slapped together. I do like Moltres, but I don't know about anything else. Back Scalper is also really good too, but I don't know if this is the team to go for it. So once again, I still don't see any of the tools that he has to stop this, so I'm just going to go Tornadus and Regidrago. I don't see a Fairy type there, so no reason why I can't do it. But he does have Terra Fairy Iron Mod, so I stand corrected. But this is still going to do like significant damage onto the Zapdos, right? There's the D-Gleam. That's a lot. And there's the Thunderbolt. So he doubles the Tornadus, but that doesn't really help him. There's still a Regidrago on the board. Slight Orb Zapdos. Here's the Flutter Mane. And we get rid of the Zapdos. The Terra Blast, Terra Steel does not pick up the Flutter Mane. And Heat Wave does hurt and it kills my Regidrago. So go figure there. But we do have Urshifu, Rapid Strike, and he has a Scizor. So he can try and protect this. He can try and switch. But, you know, either way, I'm really going for this slot. I already know he's going to click Bullet Punch. So I just have to protect this turn on the Flutter Mane. You know, force the Bullet Punch. He protects Iron Moth, so that's as good of a turn as it gets. You can't protect in front of Urshifu. I guess this user forgot or doesn't have much experience yet. There's the Scalper in the back, which drops to both the Flutter Mane and the Urshifu. So he's going to Bullet Punch the Flutter Mane. I can't stop that, but at the very least, I can click Close Combat on the Scalper, who can't Terra out of it anyway, because they already used their Terrestrialization. So there's the Bullet Punch, down goes the Flutter Mane, and here is the Close Combat into the Scalper, and down it goes, right? Okay, so for, you know, again, some Close Combat into the Scizor. Then there's Close Combat into us, but because he drops his defenses, now I can just click Aqua Jet, and down goes the Scizor, right? So really, really cool way to finish it. Urshifu is just too good, guys. Okay, so yet another team where, like, again, I look at it and he does have Fake Out, so that's fine. But we also have the Protect button, so I'm not really too worried. Does have a Flutter Mane that he can always switch into, and Moltres that, you know, when it takes the Dragon Energy, it will dip below and then get the Berserk boost, so I do have to be aware of that. But I see no worries on a team like this. He's using Chestnut, which is unoptimal. So yeah, it looks like he's just a user that just wants to have a little fun on ladder, but maybe their favorite Pokemon here. But here we go, Tornadus, Regidrago once again. Here's the Sneasel, here's the Chestnut. If that was Rillaboom, that would be better, but it is not. So you can just Fake Out here, which is why I double protect both turn 1, just to see what he would do with the other slot. There's the Fake Out, yep. And it is Leech Seed, so that's very interesting. But here we go, there's the Flutter Mane. And then now we're just gonna click Tailwind, and we're just gonna click the Dragon Energy, right? A little bit of chip damage, which is pretty decent chip into the Heatran, all things considered. But now here's what we do. There's the Chestnut again. Here's the Terra Steel. Here's the Bleakwind Storm. Okay, and then here comes the Terra Blast on the Regidrago, and that's pretty much it, right? That's all she wrote. He didn't have anything for it. And you gotta respect Regidrago, guys, in team building, right? You don't want to lose to it. Okay, there's many different ways that you can do something to it, which is some of the ways I already talked already. But again, that's pretty much the team and how it performs. If you can just manage to get in your Urshifu in position, you know, you can just do a lot of damage into their Ursalunas, their Landorses, which, you know, don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, as long as you have your Focus Sash on your Urshifu. So yeah, that's the squad. We gave you the freemium version, as I said. The premium one was made for a tier sub. I just wanted to show you at least the archetype here. So this way, if you have your own EV spreads for these mods, you can consider doing it yourself. All right, but that'll be it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.